In today's episode, we will talk about the Druids. Who are the Druids? No. We've covered that. We are talking about the difference and the similarities, but more or less, Shinshrukt, CR, which is Celtic Reconstructionism, and things like modern Druidry, and a meeting place in the middle. So let's get to it. This is what it looks like in my world. Hair. Lots of hair. Lots of hair. Right? Right. You can't see me. All right. So, a meeting point, really. I have this opinion, which is, well, an opinion, that each side is kind of missing out on something that they could gain from the other. I think modern Druidry is lacking something very specific that would help them grow. And I think that Shinshrukt, or CR, or other movements which would be considered, Gaelic Polytheism, is missing something that would help them grow. Each has something to offer that not the other has, given over or realized or what have you. Let's get a pipe together and have a chat. Let's get this mop out of the way, shall we? I have a lot of hair on my head. Other than that, I'm not a very hairy man. My arms are not very hairy. My chest is not hairy. My armpits are not hairy. My balls are not hairy. Well, some manscaping should be done. But enough about my balls. Let's talk about tobacco and tea real quick. And then we'll get on to this hullabaloo of druid business. I have VRs to do, guys. I have heard your questions. I'm in the process of sorting that out for you guys. So I will be replying to your questions. And thank you, by the way, for the questions. I love questions. And keep them coming. And I will do my best to get them to you promptly. I have something on my cup that's undesirable. I don't know what that is. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. If you know what this is about, well, then we can be friends. We can be friends anyway. I'm having some tea. I believe it's pronounced Assam. I should know how to pronounce that, but I'm sorry I don't. But I'm having some of that type of tea with a dash of stevia and a dash of vanilla coconut milk. Yoink. And it's pipe time. Pipe time, and it's pipe time. I'm going to try not to ramble and drag this on, guys, but it is a topic that's quite serious. Serious. Yeah. So I'm having a blend that I made up just the other day. Something new I'm trying out. It has some bold Kentuckys in it. It has some bright Virginias in it. Some red Virginia in it. And a little bit of Latakia. I would say, 25% Latakia to the blend. And this is the second time I've had it. Da 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 da. Here's Johnny. I'm always having lighter problems. Click with lighters. So I've been using matches and now I can't find them. Aha. There you have it. right? So this druid business, I hate the word druid, by the way, because it's anglicizing word from a culture. And we've had this chat. I talked about this in, Druidry versus druid, a video. I've talked about this in like Ritual 3. A lot of my early videos, I talk about this stuff in depth, guys. So if you want to scroll back to the early videos, please do, Okay, it's getting warm in here. It's time to get naked. Naked's good. But this morning I woke up and it was 5 degrees Fahrenheit, so naked is not good. I'm not sure where I'm going to start. Which side of the coin here? Not too shabby. Perhaps I will pick on I'll pick on Neo Druidry first. Now, I've been with OBOD, the Order of Bards, Oaths, and Druids, since 1998. I've done their course material, all of it, completed it, and then they they redid it. They definitely redid it. They revamped it. They did a whole new lesson plan for all the 3 grades. So I did those too. And I can say that the first time was a wonderful journey. It was a great adventure. Self-discovery and being introduced into some Celtic themes and just into paganism in general. There was a lot of growth there, but I think that's lacking. The sense of community, of OBOD's community, is really lacking stateside. It's definitely, something that you can, if you go to one of the OBOD camps overseas for like Lunasa or Bieltana, you can get a sense for people, community. But you don't get that sense here in the United States. Perhaps we're too big or too wide to spread out. So it's tough, and I'm not saying that there's not seed groups or groves that are active, but not like there is overseas. So they are lacking in a sense of community when it comes to stateside. So that's one thing. Oh, the other material that they did when they revamped their course and they did Bard, Ovate, and Druid all over again, they also offered audio, which I have. That's great material. I do like the new course a lot better. The new 3 grades that they offer. They really put some hard work into making it have more of a Celtic feel, I guess you would say. And the journey is a completely different journey. So anybody that's done the course, if they haven't done the new course, I highly suggest doing the new OBOD course instead of the old one. I don't know if they offer the Druid grade in audio yet. Last time I checked, which was a while ago, they did not have that. So I don't have that on audio. Now, I think one of the biggest things that I was just briefly talking about, a community with neo-pagans, and especially modern Druidry, neo-Druids, is a sense that they don't have a strong focus on culture. They are a self-growth organization. They have a sense of community in a strange way, but it's not cultural. Not like Shinshrocht or different branches of Celtic Reconstructionism, they're not pulling necessarily like from the stream bed of the culture, where in something like Shinshrukt, you have the culture and the spirituality as a part of the culture, the folk customs, the traditions, the everyday things, the language, you know, the music, the recipes. It's all there. I mean, I'm not saying OBOD or maybe even ADF for that matter. I'm not saying that those groups don't have that, because that's generalizing. But as a group like an assessment of this order or that order, these modern orders are not culturally based. They're faith based. They're spiritually based. And they are so in a way that is offset from the norm, that deviates actually from the cultural themes in a way. I talk about that more in that video I did, Druid verse 3. Let's see if I can get this lit, because I don't have my pipe tool. I'm using my fingers and they're getting all charred up. Always burn the sulfur off your matches. So I definitely feel that OBOD, ADF, the BDO, they're all lacking in the sense of community, but in a tribal sense, in the family sense. You know, Jereb Tuha, Pobble, in a cultural sense. They could learn and grow from movements like CR, Shinshrukt, things like that, things that are more cultural based. They could take from us and really apply that to their structure, if you wouldn't call it a structure, their tradition. You know, if they applied that, they would have a really beautiful thing going on, and it would be different than CR stuff and Shinshrukt stuff, no doubt. It would still be its own neo-druid thing, but I would like to see where they would go with that. Like giving up the trappings of neo-druidry, of modern druidry. And I'm not saying that they're all bad. In fact, just this evening, I watched Philip's channel, Philip Cargam. I watched his YouTube channel. He did Tea with Philip number 13. If you have not seen the video, I highly encourage it. It gives a good sense of what he's all about, what the order's all about, and there's just a good sense of spiritualism in a way, in a universal kind of way. But there's a sense of peace and calm and growth, and these are the themes that I think CR and Shinshrukt are lacking in. That's still very hot, but quite good. Now, I think that the movement of CR, Celtic Reconstructionism, and, you know, Shinshrukt, and Gaelic polytheism is so often focused on just the culture. And this is historical, this is not, this is what we have, this is what we don't have. We're not allowing for romantic influence from outside cultures, and I can appreciate all of this, because that's my main path. But I think that by not remaining open and objective, that they are missing out on the growth of the future of where our tradition is headed. I'm not saying that we fully adopt things and themes from neo-paganism that are foreign elements. I am saying, though, we have to use objectivity and allow for things to inspire us, to come from a place where our ancestors dreamt, where they received their inspiration from a source. We have to allow ourselves the child's mind and the child's attitude of play. You know, it doesn't, you can, I'm a father and I have children, and anybody that has children knows that sometimes it's not the toy, it's the box. I think all too often, Shinstruct and CR are focusing on the toy. We need to be firmly rooted in the present and understanding the current issues of, you know, religion and politics and eco-responsibility and our footprint and all sorts of things. We need to understand what is happening currently in our world. We have to know our world. And in doing so, we need to know ourselves. I don't think that the spiritual aspect of CR or Shinstruct really allows the individual or the group, the people, to really have those experiences on a very deep level, aside from, you know, what somebody might receive if they're open from ritual or reading or research, or simply just on their own adventure. I don't think that the tools are given to them, given to people in CR or Shinstruct, that allow them to operate and to grow into or build self-growth appropriately. And when I say tools, I mean, like, you know, your mental toolbox, your toolkit. And this is kind of where I'm coming from in this. I can hear one of my children screaming. That's wonderful. Well, one of my biggest passions and hobbies is the outdoors, is nature. I love bushcraft and hiking and camping and survival things. And I've been doing these things for a long time. And I love every aspect about, you know, nature. So it makes sense that my spirituality is, you know, aligned with nature. So coming from that mindset, it's, you know, the more you know, the less you need when it comes to like things like gear. You know, that knowledge is power. A teacher was always, you know, learning from his students. There's always new ways. You're always sharing. You're in a part of a big community and people are sharing different tricks and tips and techniques and how to do this. And, you know, have you tried this method of fire making? And what about this tarp configuration? And, you know, gear reviews and all sorts of things like that. Because you're always adding to your toolbox, your toolkit. And you're encouraged to have dirt time. You know, you go outside in the woods and you put these into practice. You go camping, you practice your skills. You know, you whittle on a stick. But you're always adding to your toolbox. And as modern magicians, as a modern druid, and even as a Druidry in modern culture, should we not still be adding things to our toolbox, to our toolkit? It's about self-growth. It's about the growth of the culture. It's about the growth of our people. For example, look at the Irish language. It's not dead. It's growing. It's adding new words. It's changing. You cannot romanticize about the past. Our faith and our culture is not stuck in the Iron Age. Our gods are still with us. And when we view our gods, we view them oftentimes in this romantic notion that, well, she must be dressed like this, and she's in a chariot, and, she's associated with this place, and they're only linked to the... No. They're deities. They're not bound by the laws of times and space. Times and spaces. Multiverse. So I think that there needs to be less of this and more of this. And maybe not more of this. Maybe it's like two friends getting together for a meal. And the meal is what each brings to the table. Now, maybe that person doesn't like that. Maybe that person's allergic to that. And they know, well, I can at least have that, and they're sharing. And then the next time they have a meal, they learn from what they brought to the table. And you keep coming to the table, and you keep bringing joy. You bring education. You bring experience, wisdom. It's all too often that people are fundamentalists about the path. Like, there is no room for this over here. Careful with that. It's, well, we can't take on board that idea because of how we are. But what you're saying about this kind of applies to something that we already have going on here. And that kind of inspired me that we could take this and run with it in this direction. So thank you for the inspiration. Wisdom seekers. So, neo-paganism definitely needs more cultural influence, more use of the language, more use of the folk customs and the traditions and the everyday business. The actual Celtic culture, the Gaelic culture, in my opinion. You could arguably say the Welsh culture as well, because they are, the Obod at least, is at least, close to Wales as well. And a lot of their stuff has a Welsh flavor to it. Speaking of which, if you're watching this video this far, I want you to guess my favorite myth. I have one specific myth that has always been my favorite, and it's still my favorite. So if you can guess my favorite story from lore, take a guess in the comment section. Ciar and Shinshrecht and other Gaelic polytheistic groups could definitely benefit and grow and flourish from learning some of the things from Obod, because there is this defining psychological, psychotherapy, self-growth aspect to the path. There has to be a meeting point, a keystone. Yep. I don't think there's much else to be said about that. So, buttons in your underwear. I'm going to finish this tea and this pipe, do a little bit of reading, go see why my kids are screaming. Well, 2 of them anyway. And then I'm going to hit the hay. I look forward to doing your video responses. There's been some good questions, and I will get them to you as soon as I can. I'm wishing you guys well and all the best. Hope you guys take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Slung a full. Iwa.